All right, we are recording. We're going to continue watching today George Washington's Forging of a Nation. The last time we were together, Washington was lamenting how Hamilton and Jefferson just are at odds, and why can't we come up with some solutions here? So we're going to continue with that and find out how they do reach an agreement as we begin today. I have an assignment for you to do that will need to be done by Wednesday. That is to read and take notes with the outline you have. We haven't done anything with that yet this unit, this chapter. So we're going to begin reading in the text and writing down in the notes. Some of this are things that we've already covered in class. But take notes on the outline, pages 152 to page 157. 152 to 157, and then do the section review on page 157 in complete sentences. That's for Wednesday. So read and take notes with the outline, pages 152 to 157, do the section review on 157 in complete sentences. That's due Wednesday. Any questions? All right, let's find out what happens next.
I'm glad you're here, gentlemen.
Mr. Jefferson, it's your turn.
I'm a touch under the weather, sir.
He's a nice one. Trust you will catch solutions to our problems faster than this fish.
Righteous as Congress.
Watch your tongue. Mr. Jefferson is Mr. Madison's advocate. Perhaps he can instruct us, if not on the art of angling, and certainly on how to reach a compromise on your financial plan.
The thing I can reach, sir, is the railing.
Oh, my sympathies, sir. Nothing worse than a rebellious stomach.
Such a rebellious Congress.
Sir, can we head ashore now? No, not until you two catch something. I think I will stretch out in the bow here for a while you two continue casting for that most delectable of legislative quarries, a quid pro quo.
All right, he just used an expression, quid pro quo. First of all, do you recognize the language? Latin. Does anybody know what it means? Have you heard it before? Quid pro quo? It basically means exchanging one thing for another. Oh, I'm sorry, you going to say something, Sally? You were going to say that, right? Right. So he's asking him to search for a quid pro quo. In other words, what can one person give and then the other person give, and each get something that they want and have a compromise.
That would be tasty.
Perhaps Mr. Hamilton,
The dispute over where to locate our national capital could be the basis of an agreement on your scheme. Plan.
what do you have in mind?
Mr. Madison does not want our government located in New York or Philadelphia, influenced by moneymen. And the Carolinas are alarmed over their Quaker petition to abolish slavery. They want the government located in the South.
You would expect me to throw away the dearest interest of New York and Pennsylvania. They want Philadelphia to be the new capital.
Give them 10 years as the nation's home, after which we can relocate to a new city further south.
How much further south?
The banks of the Potomac would appeal to many.
What makes you think Madison will agree?
He can still vote against you, but work behind the scenes with me to secure enough Southern support to pass funding and government assumption of war debts.
Would he consent to this?
You get me off this boat, sir, and I'll guarantee it.
should drive out more often.
A creative story, which didn't really happen. And now, I shouldn't say that. It did happen, it just didn't happen on a boat. And it actually happened at a party, a dinner party that Jefferson threw. And it was Jefferson's idea to get together and to work out an agreement. So this way kind of casts Jefferson in a lesser way than what he really, the role he played, and kind of elevates Washington into the role of mediator. But they did reach that agreement that the new capital would be located in the South, as Washington said, along the banks of the Potomac, which is near where Washington lives. He lives on the banks of the Potomac, a little further down. And of course, that land was donated for the building of a new capital, and they did just as was suggested. They moved the capital to Philadelphia for 10 years, after which time it would be relocated to a new city that was being built, and that would be called Washington, D.C. Any comments or questions about this? So they found their quid pro quo.
Cousin, I am temporarily short of funds, so if you don't intend to purchase any shares in the new bank, perhaps you lend me whatever you can afford? You know how to repay me.
Randolph, you cannot plunge into something like this damnable bank on borrowed money.
You hungry?
No, not a cent. And don't try to borrow from anyone else, especially Hamilton. Even if you have the money, the Attorney General shouldn't buy shares. It's a conflict of interest.
Oh, no, please don't stop what you were doing. Come on. Mrs. Powell, good evening.
Good evening. Your host, Mr. William Bingham, and his wife Anne, who also happens to be my niece.
We are honored, Mr. President.
Mr. President, we so look forward to this moment.
Mr. and Mrs. Bingham, Mrs. Washington. It's a pleasure, madam.
Would you mind awfully? Aunt Maud can't wait to meet you. William, please do the honors.
Will you come this way, madam?
At last, sir, you're here. What joy the entire city of brotherly love feels at the return of the world's greatest hero.
Please, Mrs. Bingham, you've already put my head into a
But
spin.
it's true. And now that we have you back, we have no intention of letting you go. This is where the capital should be forevermore. So please, change the minds of that Congress.
Who knows what I might do under such a bewitching influence.
And dear, we must not let the president forget that he has other lovely women eager to make his acquaintance.
If your ladies will excuse me, I must have a word with Mr. Hamilton. You seem miles away.
Yeah. Perhaps I am, sir. I'm missing my wife.
When is Mrs. Hamilton expected back?
I just heard from her father. General Schuyler feels she should stay in Albany until she's fully recovered. The birth was very difficult.
I hope she's feeling better soon.
Please, gentlemen, the ladies are starved for your attention.
Dancing seems to be the only form of exercise I have time for these days. Much to my detriment.
My dear sir, you underestimate your potent effect upon the ladies and their frustration.
Frustration.
At your apparent disinterest. Yet in Virginia, so we hear, you were called behind your back, of course, the Stallion of the Potomac. Are such tales not true?
The Stallion of the Potomac is royal gift. My stud jackass.
When it was born,
So, in other words, the rumors were that he was a ladies' man, and but he pointed out that that nickname was really that jackass that he was trying to mate earlier. It was this is a question for the girls, and I'm not sure if you'll have an answer or not, but when you're what about the physical appearance of a guy is attractive? What do you look for in a guy? The physical appearance that you find attractive. Is it,
Like hair, eyes,
yeah,
height.
all those things, or are those just suggestions?
Yeah, just.
Hair, eyes, height. Some height. Well, you know what it was then?
White hair.
This, no, the size of their calves.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they wore the pants. They came down to here so they could show off their calves. So they're dancing. They're reminding me of that. And apparently Washington had large calves, so that made it more attractive, as well as being tall.
Please. I'm ultimately too busy today to see anyone.
Please, sir, please.
that poor woman, why is she so desperate?
She wouldn't tell me, sir. And I certainly wasn't going to subject you to an embarrassing appeal.
I can't just turn my back on her.
Mr. Hamilton.
Sure, yes, sir.
Madam, Mr. Hamilton will see you. Sir, the Revenue Commissioner from Western Pennsylvania is expected any moment.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcott.
Sir, I know I shouldn't take the time of so important a man as you, but I have nowhere else to turn.
Please, sit down. Tell me what it is.
You must believe that I'm not so bold a woman as to do this sort of thing. I come from a respectable New York family, and my sister married a Livingston. My husband, I'm so ashamed to tell you this. My husband ran off with another woman and abandoned me. And I'm desperate, stranded in Philadelphia without the funds to return home. And I spoke to your friend, Mr. William Dewar, who told me of your kindness to others, and I didn't know what else to do but to come to you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. I don't know what I can do about your husband. But if you'll give my deputy your address, I'll try to help you.
All right, I noticed that just a few seconds into her coming into Hamilton's office that Sally was having a bit of a fit there, shaking her head. No, no. Why are you saying that? How do you know that? Ah. She's seen Hamilton, the musical. So it wasn't any kind of. All right. I thought maybe it was more like women's intuition, but no. Did any of you girls have women's intuition kick in here rather than knowing what's going to happen? Because a lot of times the girls are more sensitive to this than the guys are.
I mean, I was just.
See, the guys are going, what? What are you
What's
talking
she
about?
doing?
She's kind of just like being like extra so that he'll like take a liking to her. So she's like doing it on purpose. So like her being upset is like, yeah, but like we could just tell that like that she wants something to happen between them.
See, guys don't get it. Hamilton doesn't get it, right?
Study the Bible?
And yes,
Yes, that's the whole point of each birth.
and that's the way it is normally. Guys are oftentimes clueless when this kind of stuff's going on, which enables women to do things like this because guys are oblivious. Girls, keep that in mind. Not that you do what she's doing, but that if you see a guy falling into some kind of a trap, you let them know and don't think that well, surely they see it. Now, stay down. All right, so let's see what happens for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. Thank you. I wasn't able to move this. There's Coach Bear from New York and a little something extra to help you get settled.
How can I thank you?
No, it's not very much.
You saved my life. I would have killed me.
No, let's not even think that.
If you only knew what my life has been like. I was married when I was 15. And my husband, he ruined me, sir. He ruined me.
Shh. It's all right. You're still very young. You're very attractive. You'll meet a decent man.
If only I'd been blessed to meet a gentleman like you, sir. You're so innocent.
Okay, I'm catching on. I got this one.
You go back to New York. Now, meet some men. But I won't go away until you wipe away your tears. Show me you can smile.
I don't want you to go.
I'm afraid I must.
Please.
You're my deputy. Good night, Mr.
Please don't go. I'm never going to say his name again.
Good night.
What's the name?
Maria.
You will Tom Robinson.
Yeah.
The guy that gave how much trouble
Shut up. Oh my God.
Anyway, might please you.
Oh my god. I didn't know what the license was.
This is what you've done.
What was that? Is that kissing?
Did any of you notice what he called her?
Maria.
What did he say her last name was? Mrs. Reynolds. Does that name sound familiar?
Oh, she's not even.
I mean, in the story that we've been watching. Okay, you'll put it together later.
A pleasant surprise. I hope this will be an even more pleasant surprise, my friend. See what I brought you. Let me show you. It's quite unique. An inflexible collar, which I strongly suggest be used on Nellie. You raise it by means of this screw. Support the child, keep her head up, thus giving her a regal bearing, and have her be accused of being royalty? But it would be such a pity, my dear, for a budding figure as lovely as Nellie's to be spoiled by her not holding herself erect. It expands the chest and prevents that look of foolish bashfulness from which so many of our young people suffer. And I must go. Try not to make any more earth-shaking decisions before I can offer my advice, Mr. President.
Well, Liza will never suffer from foolish bashfulness, huh? You all right?
Yes.
Something is troubling me.
It's just...
Now, go on, tell me.
Compared to Eliza Powell, I feel naive and clumsy. Oh, George.
Yes, she's a friend. But you're my wife. More than anyone, I need you.
This is the last time we do it. It's going more deeply in depth to speculate at just the wrong time. I've warned you before, look what happened. I know what I'm doing. I hope so. For my new deputy, I'll go work on the company shortage on the treasury books during your stewardship.
What do you mean?
He's about to bring suit against you for thousands of dollars he believes you owe the United States.
God, you have to stop him. Use your influence, whatever, but give me time. A suit could ruin me. Alex, I'm not the only man to succumb to temptation.
Punch her.
Verbal, I rejected that.
I had to see you.
Shh. Wait here. I've got your business. You'll have to leave.
You will help me.
Yes, I'll see what I can do.
That's all I need, just a little
I'll see
time.
what I can do.
Wow, he's doing
I know enough to come here, but I didn't know what else to do. Why didn't you visit me last night?
Maria,
I want you, I need you, please.
no. It must end. Mrs. Hamilton will be returning from Albany, and I can't
I
have
love you.
Don't you understand?
Please don't send me away. I'm scared.
What's happened? Tell me.
My husband's come back. He says he's finished with the other woman and he's planned to make it up to me. And now that he's heard I'm in love with someone else.
You told him that?
Well, I couldn't lie. You know, it demands to meet you. To offer him justice.
I got the impression from many of the girls that when she said she couldn't lie, that you didn't believe her. Is that right?
She seems to cause drama.
She's just very dramatic.
Would you say that she's manipulative?
Yes.
Sally?
She's trying to make herself look like she can't do anything, so that Alex
Vulnerable.
everything. That he feels that he has, like he is responsible for making. her
Guys, pay
life.
attention. You might learn something here that might be beneficial to you in life, let alone an understanding of Hamilton.
She's doing everything she can to get him to say, no, it's okay. When it's not. So. He's trying to be polite while being really confused at the same time. And she's just,
Well, she continues to draw him in, right?
yeah.
He's trying to extricate himself from the situation, but she's drawing him back.
You think of me what you want, Mr. Evans. But is what I've done any worse than what you've done? You, sir, have put the horns on me, and that is worse than killing a man. You abandoned her. I couldn't stand her to see me the way I was. I lost everything. And when I finally get myself straight again, I come back to this. Damn you, sir. You've robbed me of all the happiness in the world, sir. I swear to you, I give you my word as a gentleman. The affair is at an end. Look, I don't want to make you feel that bad, Mr. Hamilton. I've sort of gotten used to the thought now. I still love her, but maybe there's no need for her to stop seeing the great Treasury Secretary. If, in return, I can be helped. Do you understand? Preference. A favor given for favor received. I'm not greedy, Mr. Hamilton. Call it a loan, so that I can invest in what you tell people is the country's great future. No. You needn't worry. The president don't know. No one knows anything. Yet. About the great Treasury Secretary.
Yeah, I know that.
And that lovely young woman. Maria loves you, Mr. Hamilton. She does. And you care about her too, don't you? Don't you?
I cannot myself leave the battlefield until we drive Hamilton from the president's sinners.
All right. Did you recognize him from before? He's the same guy that was going out in the countryside to buy up certificates with the under the advice of who? Yeah, Hamilton's cousin, William Dewar, who was just in Hamilton's office, begging not to, for there to be an investigation of when he was his assistant. Who was it that recommended that Maria go see Hamilton? William Dewar. Are you starting to see some connections there? And then Mr. Reynolds isn't all that upset about his wife having an affair with Hamilton if it means that he can get some money out of it.
Sir, that is where your pen, Mr. Furneaux, has proven mightier than the monarchist's sword. So you must now redouble your efforts.
Mr. Madison and I believe that Hamilton has been so puffed up by his supporters that he is plotting to make himself king when the president dies.
What if I attack Washington as well in my newspaper?
The people still love the man, and in reaction might turn against us. Besides, I believe the president's motives to be pure. And I know how sensitive he is.
then the shock of criticism will be all the more effective in detaching you from Hamilton.
Sir, I don't like it.
When the nation is at peril, we must sometimes do things we don't like. We can no longer allow Washington to stay above the battle.
Now this Freneau was the editor of a newspaper which attacked Washington and Hamilton, especially Hamilton. And oftentimes saying things that weren't really true. But that was part of the freedom of the press at the time, and a lot of newspapers printed things that may or may not have been true. You had fake news back then. The ironic thing is that Freneau was being paid by the U.S. government to be a translator, and he was using his position, the money he was getting, in order to publish a newspaper which was highly critical of the government of Washington and Hamilton. We're going to see this escalate, this war of words between Jefferson and Hamilton through the newspapers.
Look at Freneau! The great man pretending reluctance to serve again by the secret hunger to be crowned.
Washington, they come to town right now, Hamilton.
Just whiskey nonsense. They don't mean anything by it.
Whiskey nonsense, as you call it, every time Freneau's paper comes out. I wonder why I missed the last issue. The man himself never fails to send me several copies.
I burned them. I couldn't bear to have you read that trash.
We shouldn't have done that. I need to know what they're saying.
Sorry.
I know you mean well.
And also, Freneau, tackles about free speech. Yet you deny it to your supporters while demanding it for his own faction.
Yes. No. If anyone in my cabinet, they conspire against what are behind my back, I'm certain.
Then leave. You've done all you can. Let them stand on their own now.
Sir, Anthony Wayne's army is just not ready. We must rely on him to decide when he can attack with hopes of victory over the Indians and their British protectors.
Before we adjourn, there's one last issue. This newspaper rumor. I want to end it.
I admit, sir, my role in the controversy, and I pledge my honor to you, sir, to do my part in reuniting your administration.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. If nobody else has anything to say, we'll adjourn this meeting. Mr. Jefferson, Mr. Hamilton, will you please stay behind? Thank you, gentlemen. I wanted to talk to you privately because
Mr. Hamilton pledges his honor. What hypocrisy. How dare you serve me?
You make capital from those attacks when you yourself published stories in your own servile press under an alien.
Listen to the man. He hurts me. Hypocrisy. He invented the word. But he pulled the strings of his congressional puppets to try and destroy me. I had to fight back and pull away in defeat. And I know what's behind such vicious personal attacks. You, Mr. Jefferson, look down on me as socially your inferior. I warn you, sir, I will tear off the veil and show you for what you are. A secret voluptuary who wants to be another Caesar.
Mr. Hamilton,
Sure. Let me remind you.
I'll be damned if I will put myself on the rack for a second term, unless you two stop these petty quarrels and pull together.
All right, that seems like a good place to stop for today.
So much.
Will Jefferson and Hamilton pull together, or will there continue to be strife in Washington's cabinet? And will he run for a second term with all of this going on?
Yeah.
Well, those and other questions will be answered as we continue tomorrow with George Washington, Forging of a Nation. Any other comments on what you saw today? The reason that I showed this, because I think it's valuable not only to know what happened, I mean, we get that out of textbooks, but to see some of the personalities that are portrayed here, and to see some of the personal things that occurred as well. Now, we don't know all the details, but piecing it together in something like this does help us, I think, to understand and maybe even remember the things that occurred. And maybe even learn some lessons for life. Any other comments? All right, we'll see you tomorrow then.